Hey, how are you guys doing today? Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Today we're going to be talking about politics, and I'm going to be asking my spirit guides your questions. Thank you so much for sending them in. I know we are in and by the way, I'm channeling this 60% spirit guides, 40% Susan, and they wanted to use the word dire, right? We're in a dire time, but I would say that we're kind of almost in the thick of it, which is good because that means the end is coming, and the end is not bad. The end is good. We actually get out of this in one piece. We are beaten, we are battered, we are certainly shaken to our core, and we have questions about our fellow Americans, as does the whole world have questions about who is America and can we count on them. So we do have all these questions, and we will be asking them. We will be looking at ourselves and answering those really hard questions as we become sort of a new version of ourselves. And in many ways this happened after 9/11. It happened after the pandemic. It certainly happened after the Vietnam War. It certainly happened after the civil rights era. So this is not new in a sense, but I think this is one of the more serious affronts to our identity as United States citizens. So this is going to take us a little time to unravel. I'm going to start out with Brenda says, at this point, with all the loyal people Trump has put in the White House, who would take him down? Who would actually be able to stop him? And you have to believe that this is something I ask my spirit guides every single day. So, yes, I can tell you that there is a move afoot right now to stop him. I mean, there's other words that I could use, but that's basically the end result, right? So right now, today, they've been talking about Barry McCaffrey, which I think this guy was a general. I think that he was in Trump's admin, but I don't know. I just know that he's going to be an important player going forward. So let me explain to you how I understand it. And I'm a big picture person, right? So I like to look at the big picture because that gives us a better idea of all the power players and all the potential outcomes of the energy. The big picture is this: it all boils down to the fastest way to get him out would be an internal remove. I'm trying to avoid certain words here, but it would be a removal. He would be removed. Okay. That would be the fastest way. And that would come through the Congress and with the backing of the Supreme Court. And it would also have to have the backing of the military. Now, this is important because we know that his administration has fired a lot of the higher up military people that were not white. And I guess he assumes that because they're not white, they're not trustworthy or something. But the funny thing that he did was he's assuming that these officers that then got promoted to those higher positions are going to be loyal to him. And I had this whole conversation with my spirit guides just about an hour ago. And I can tell you as a white person how many times people have said racist things to me thinking I'm white and I'm going to be okay with whatever they're saying. And let me tell you, I disabuse them of their notion immediately. I do not stand for that stuff. And believe me when I say that my friends know that. So if they invite somebody new to a party or a circle of mine, they're going to be very cautious. If that person says something, I'm going to interrupt the party, the dinner, I don't care what it is. And I'm going to stand on that, on my principles. And I think it's interesting because 45 thinks that these people are going to be loyal to him, and they're not. Okay. But what is happening right now is there is a move afoot, is what the guides want to call it. What I would say is what I see also is almost several things happening at once. So there seems to be something happening in potentially a grand jury. Grand juries are often secret. We don't know about them. And I do believe there's some movement afoot to either begin a grand jury or to there's already one in progress. Now, the thing that I would like to ask the spirit guides is, we all know the DOJ, at least the head of the DOJ, is not on our team, not on Team Justice, not on Team USA, even, sadly enough, right? So, but they're straight. They don't care. The guides are saying, they're shrugging their shoulders like it doesn't matter. This is secret. They may not even know about it. The players understand the importance. They just keep saying dire. The guide said the dire situation. The players understand that if they're caught, they're likely themselves to be rung up on treason. So, and in this administration, that could be a very horrible outcome. Okay. So everybody understands how serious this is. They truly are patriots. Okay. So we have something going on in the courts. We have something going on with the military, with people like General McCaffrey and other people who are working within the military echelon, the military ranks, to make sure that should something go sideways, they have enough support. And they also seem to know, because I think these people are so, again, it goes back to what I just said about people being so self-assured of their privilege to be racist or whatever. They just show it. Like, so what they're saying to me is that the military knows. They know who's on whose side. It's very clear who's on 45's side. So what's happening right now is they're gathering enough important players to create a backstop. The guides want to call it a backstop. So should 45 do something lunatic like, and say we're going to go to WAR, whatever, with our own country, this is why these things need to happen. Okay, so now we have something that's happening in the courts. I think that's really aimed at Elon. And I honestly think that the DOJ is fine with it because they want to get rid of him. So I think that might be why it's allowed to continue. But what they don't understand is that the domino that knocks Elon over is going to go for 45, right? So, but that's okay. If they're not smart enough to figure that out, then they don't need to know, right? So we've got the courts, we've got the military, and then we have Congress. And right now, and this is where I've been a little bit on pins and needles, because one of the reasons this is a dire situation, one of the reasons why I think there's some real urgency about this, is what happened with Zelensky at the White House. Now, I think that Zelensky didn't take a beating. I think Zelensky went to show the world the truth. You know, they needed to see the absolute bare truth, and they saw it. And now they are coalescing around Zelensky. Zelensky was even invited over to Prince Charles's actual home, not the palace, which gave the world a great big message that England is going to stand with Ukraine. Like, we brought this head of state to the home, never done. So Europe is coming together. But the fact that, who is it? Some country, the Netherlands, some countries not allowing our submarines or boat or ships, our Navy ships, to refuel on their coast. I mean, this is getting serious, right? We're really not just becoming a pariah. We're actually becoming a menace. And they're not sure. The world is just not sure if America is going to let this megalomaniac take over our country. Then they have to be honest with themselves and their citizens, and they have to say this might be an enemy of ours, right? So that is why there's this urgency within the military. So the thing that I was on pins and needles about is, unfortunately, Congress people make a lot of money off of war. This is not something that would stop them from supporting a war. And that's unfortunate, right? But it is the truth. And as I was talking to the spirit guides earlier about this, they showed me Biden's son, Bo. You know, Biden sent his son went to war, right? But a lot of these people don't, and we know 45 had bone spurs, right? So we know a lot of these wealthy people, they're not going to face the ultimate consequence of having their own family in that, battle. So that won't be something that stops them. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to say, right? Everybody has their own line. Even in your own life, you have your own line. Like, I'll do this, but not that, right? So, the military has drawn their line. The courts have drawn their line. The courts have been standing up to 45, right and left, as Biden said they would, energetically to me. He said the courts will hold the line, and they are. But there's several lines here, and I just, the last line is Congress. So we need to think about and ask, is Congress going to stand up? And they're saying that they will. But the thing, you guys, is I think this could take longer than we want it to take. Certainly anything can happen because this is a volatile situation, and 45 has free will, and so does everybody else. And if he crosses a few more lines, and I could kind of tell you what some of those are, then everything speeds up. Then Congress comes online, the courts come online, the military, everybody comes online. Okay? So let's say you have the courts basically take out Elon and he gets deported or whatever he gets. The guides have always said ruination for him, one word, ruination. And the other thing is that it's now coming out, allegedly, Elon and his, satellites have been fingered in some other election interference. And these countries are not going to put up with that. They're not going to put up with this guy. And they're going to start issuing warrants for his arrest. Well, of course, there's some places that 45 can't visit either. But all of this starts to have energy, right? Because if we oust Elon, then guess what? He's now a wanted man in the world. And I don't feel that he's safe in South Africa. And I don't feel like he wants to go back there. So I think this is really going to start to be where the house of cards starts falling apart. Okay. So I see all of them out. I don't see Vance ruling over the United States. I think there's a slim possibility that he could do it. Of course, that has been the game plan all along. 45 did not choose Vance. Vance was, put on him. So the game plan all along was to get rid of all these people and have Vance and Peter Thiel run our country. And you see what Vance is doing right now and how he attacks Zelensky. He's worse than 45 in some ways, right? So this is not a saving grace in any way, shape, or form. It would be great if all of this would time out with more awareness of the MAGAs and how they've been lied to and abused and how they are about to pay a very big price. If this could time out with more awakening from them, and they're waking up every day, but not to the degree that we need. Point blank, not enough. If all this could time out where they could remove this administration and bring in, I'll talk about that in a second, the new administration, then this could all happen in a way that feels like a release or an ease, like everything, like we can breathe, right? Okay, that would be the best situation. But I don't know that if that is going to happen, it's probably going to happen towards the end of the year. I think that's how long we need for the MAGAs to really feel the pain. By then, we're all going to be feeling the pain with them. So that's one possibility. If it happens before then, which is a distinct possibility that it could even happen as soon as April or May, again, it depends on if 45 does something militarily, that hastens everything. So I cannot read him. He every 5 minutes he changes his mind about what he's doing. And it's not, he's much more strategic. I've often told you guys, this guy's much more strategic than you think. he lays awake at night thinking of ways to get back at his enemies. He's very strategic about things. Okay. So now let's talk about the new who could take over. Now there is energy all of a sudden. This is 40%. Okay. If I had to tell you a percentage, I would give this 40%. There's an energy all of a sudden of, oh, well, Elon has been fingered in all these other ELECTION things. Well, wait a minute. Let's look at the United States one. Oh, well, wait a minute. Now we've got whistleblowers. The spirit guides always told you whistleblower was going to be the person of the year in 2025. And now we're willing to say, well, maybe ours was, messed with, rigged. And now maybe we do some sort of thing. And whether that's a recount or whether that's we are in uncharted territory. They're not even paying attention to the Constitution. They're not paying attention to laws. So I'm not sure how we're going to do this. I know the Democrats want to follow the laws and want to follow the Constitution, and I think we should, because otherwise we're not a country. We're a failed state. If we do everything the Republicans do, we are a failed state. Then you might as well run the red lights and rob your neighbors and just do whatever you want to do, right? So we really have to work within the laws and within the courts to deal with him. And so I think there's a 40% chance that somehow Kamala Harris is reinstalled with Tim Walz. I think it's very dangerous. And I think that it would fulfill her destiny that I saw all those years ago of ruling a divided country. Because if this happens in April, May, June, July, the MAGAs haven't felt their pain yet. And you will hear a collective howl from them that will be very destructive. And the destruction of our society, our economy, and in some degrees our democracy will continue. So this is why I've always told you guys that I feel sorry for her, that I think that she, I would love to have her as president, but there's no magic wand here, because we have to deal with why we're experiencing this, because a whole lot of white people voted for a white guy because they think they're better than everybody else. Bottom line, this is our wound. This is our Chiron wound. If you look at astrology, we have to deal with it. It's going to keep coming back around until we deal with it. And we're going to have another chance to deal with this, except for that now it's an even bigger opportunity to deal with it. Okay. So, however, I think you would agree, and I would agree, that I'd still rather have Kamala Harris at the helm, guiding us through this, even with this kind of strife and everything, than not having her guide us through it. And it really depends also on how hard it is to get him out, or if he's not there, to get Vance out. I don't see them just going, oh, you got me. Darn it, you figured it all out. Here's the keys to the White House. I'll see you later. I don't see that happening after Jan 6. I don't see that happening. And as they continue to consolidate power, and as these groups that happen to be white men continue to consolidate power, that gives them a powerful base to fight back. So if that's the case, and the military needs to, again, back to why they need to get the military involved, if the military needs to get involved, then we could see a situation where we have a caretaker temporary government that is some sort of coalition government that is formed in a very different way. But all that has to happen after. I mean, I know that you guys think that it couldn't get any worse, and this is as worse as it could possibly get. But, look around. People are still going to their jobs. People are still going on vacation. People are still having birthday parties. The rest of the country is not feeling this. They're not feeling it, folks. You really have to understand that you are really in your own bubble and you're aware of all the things that are happening, but everybody else just doesn't feel it. It's not bothering them, right? If you don't know somebody that works in the government, if you're not working for the government or you're not getting Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, then you're not feeling it. You're like, he's just like all the other presidents. They all suck, right? So it really has to get to this place where either A, we become a world problem, in which case I think the military and various other powers will step in, or we have to wait until it becomes a human problem. And if we have to wait for that, that's not even something I've talked about, because if we have to wait for us, for the revolution to take place, we're looking at years. We're looking at years for us to do that, which is fine. If we have to do it, we'll do it. We'll roll up our sleeves and we'll do it. I don't think that's how this is going to work. I don't feel like that's how it's going to work. But even if all the other things happened and we got him out of office, and Vance and Elon and everybody else out of office in whatever way that happens, we still have a situation of a divided country. So that revolutionary energy is still present. We're still deciding, wait a minute, are we really this person or are we not this person? I say our country is loving and patriotic and respectful of all races, cultures, sexual orientations, all the above. This other person might say, no, I don't agree with that. So we still have the same problem, but we have a new president. So you guys understand? And we're going to work that out. We're going to be working that out. That's going to be worked out within the populace, within our communities, within our states. Okay? And it's not the end of the world, and it's not, it just is. Sometimes you have to just work with people that you don't understand or you don't like. You have to, at some point, you have to say, we have to at least find some middle ground here. And as this is happening, there's going to be extra things that'll happen that'll help us. For instance, hopefully our Congress will start passing laws about these misinformation and disinformation, which is how these people's brains got cooked in the first place. Now, I've always maintained that they're racist. From the beginning, I've said to you, if you're a MAGA, you're racist. I don't care what you say to me. You cannot convince me otherwise. What happened was these people made it okay for you to be outwardly racist. That's the only difference, right? But I do know that people can change, because I know that my own dad changed, right? So I know that people can change. It's just a matter of time and real effort and real community. We all have to get involved in our community. We have to. I know I live in it was a blue community, but now it's a very red community, and I get it. But we're going to have to figure out some way to do this, right? To find our people and go to town halls together and have support, really support each other. That's what they do. That's what we need to learn from them. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. I don't know, I'm channeling. I have no idea what I just said. And you might not even hear about this stuff. This could be backstage kind of stuff. Diane says, will the U.S. ever be able to recover from the damage this administration has put on our country? I think we're not only going to recover, I think we're going to be better, because this was always here. People have always been discriminated against. Maybe I didn't feel it, maybe you didn't feel it, but they've been feeling it. So this energy has always been here, and it's going to give us a chance to drag it out in broad daylight and own it and say, we don't want it. So yeah, I think we are going to be able to recover, and I think we're going to be better. I think we're going to be a much better country. But that also depends on humanity. It depends on humans. It depends on whether we can not be racist. You know, maybe if we could pass some laws about, conduct, that's why we have DEI, is to hopefully straighten the scale that's way out of balance, right? So we need to go back to those things. But I think we can, and I think we will, but I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk. I will tell you that. Beth Thomas says, "Will John Roberts revoke his presidential immunity decision regarding the Orange Man?" The interesting thing about presidential immunity is if 45 is breaking the law, he doesn't have immunity. So when he goes against the court, when the court says you can't do this, and he says, yes, I can, that he doesn't have immunity for that. So I think we also need to be very clear about the fact that he doesn't have blanket immunity. If he's doing something within his office of being president and he's breaking a law, the immunity just went out the window. So, if he gets caught up in this Elon thing with allegedly the vote tampering, then number one, he was a private citizen. Then number two, even if he wasn't, it's against the law. So I don't see Roberts revoking the presidential immunity decision. But what I hope and what I need to see is a Supreme Court coming against him, because we've got to have the Supreme Court against him to be able to get him out. And that's what I think is going to happen. But I think it's going to be, and this, I didn't see this earlier, but really this is truly the holy grail of the whole thing. And that is the moneyed interest. I always talk about the American oligarchs and the foreign oligarchs, and the American oligarchs like the Cheneys. And to a degree, Nancy Pelosi's made a bunch of money, right? But these people that have made a bunch of money off of the United States, they want to keep the money in the United States. These other people like Vance, they don't care. They're being bought by another country, and they don't care if that country wrecks us. So get a phone call from somebody like Crow, the guy that is the multi-gazillionaire that gave Justice Thomas all those gifts. One phone call from somebody like that, and 3 of those justices flip to the liberal side. Okay? So that's what I think can happen, because in the end result, having a 5-year economic slowdown, a recession, is going to hurt their pocketbook too much. And this is the energy that they've always given me, is this sort of like the American oligarchs going, okay. What do we have to do? What do we have to do to make a deal with you? Because we're going to give you the power, meaning the Democrats. We're going to get them out, and we're willing to pay 10% more taxes, right? Not no Bernie Sanders 50% taxes, but we're willing to pay 28%, which I think is less than when Clinton was in office, right? I mean, but it's higher than what they are paying now. These are the triggers. And one call would change that, would change the Supreme Court. And once he doesn't have the Supreme Court, he doesn't have anything. The Supreme Court, Congress would be together, the military would be together, and it would be 3 strikes, you're out. And I think that's going to happen. But like I think the spirit guides hinted earlier, war is a big moneymaker for these people. So I think they're kind of on the fence, like, well, I don't know, a recession is bad, but if we can have a war, we can make a lot of money, right? And all of my goods will go to war goods. Like all of my industry will go to war industry. I'm not going to lose anything. So that's kind of the problem here. Then I think the military becomes more of a deciding force in that. And let me just say, I don't see us going to war, but I do see a real hairy situation, a real nail biter situation where perhaps our allies are not sure if they have to go to war against us. I mean, it's like a thought bubble. It's not reality, but it's like the energy of, wait a minute, are we going to have to do this? Is this going to happen? I mean, they're thinking like this right now. They understand that we have been taken over and that we are not driving the boat. The democracy is not driving the boat right now. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. I'm just looking at the situation, and I don't see, even though these scoundrels want war for the money, I don't see it. I don't see it happening. I think they're going to try to cut their losses. The energy that I'm getting right now is, let's cut our losses right now. We're already, they already know this economic backlash is hurting them. They know that, and it's not going to stop. I told you guys months ago, people are just going to stop buying things, right? This is what the guides told you months and months ago. People are just going to not want to buy things. It's like all of a sudden you just don't have a urge. You don't have a taste for it. You don't want it. It's really weird, because we are the GDP. Us buying things is our economy. That is actually our whole economy. So when we stop buying things, our economy is going to crash. It's going to go into a recession. And they see this coming. And they have their own astrologers, and they have their own psychics, and they see it coming. And they're going to bail before it gets that bad. They're going to try to make concessions with Congress. They're going to try to make concessions with the American people. They're going to try to buy us our good humor back. But it's not really going to work, because at the same time, they're Frankenstein MAGAs that they created are running around the streets acting a fool. So, but I do think that they're more likely to give in, throw these people out, and give the Democrats some sort of time to rule. And that's a whole nother thing, because the Democrats themselves are going to split apart. And that's not going to be pretty, and that's not going to be fun. But these staid, moribund, ineffectual, Democrats, they're going to get pushed out. They're going to get pushed to the side, because we're going to grow us up some more AOCs and Jasmine Crockett's and Maxwell Frost. We're going to grow us up. We're going to get us some more of those people, the John Ossoffs. We're going to get more of those people, and we're going to start getting rid of these other old, really just, they're part of the problem, right? Okay, that's a lot of change that's coming. I mean, it's mostly good change, but it's change. Michelle Barra says, I'm worried about Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. The spirit guides told you they would mess with Medicaid. They told you they would take Medicaid. And I hate to say this to you guys, it's not great, but I think forewarned is forearmed. Otherwise, you're a sitting duck. And I don't want you to be a sitting duck. So what I want you to do is, if you get Medicaid and you get disability, you really need to think about what's happening in your life. I mean, I want you to really think about it, because you're going to have to probably do something you don't want to do, like take in a roommate, become a roommate. I want you to shield yourself from the wreckage that's coming this way, because I feel like they're going to, so the guides are showing me, when you get into an argument with somebody and they're kind of rowdy and violent, and as they're leaving the house, they just break everything, right? Like they're leaving the house, but on their way out, they're breaking all your stuff. And that's kind of how I feel like this is going to happen. So I want you guys to get a side gig, get a side job, move in with somebody, have somebody move in with you, save every penny you can, do anything you can make an extra $5, $10, $20 with. The guides have been telling you for months and months, please go to the food pantry and get food, and don't use your money to buy food. Use your money to pay whatever bills you have coming, because the costs are going to go up. I really feel like we're going to go into a recession. It's really sad because after Biden saved our butts, he literally saved our butts. We did not go into a recession. It's a miracle what he did. After all that, we're probably going to go into a recession anyway, which means that things are going to be very expensive. So I want you guys to take care of yourselves, okay? If you're barely paying your bills, please think about getting a roommate before you lose your place to stay. You can always, if things aren't as bad as they seem like they're going to get, you can always move back out. You can always change your mind later, but I'd rather you prepare now so that you have a home, right? And that's why local community is so important, right? Because if you know who's blue in your area, and if you know who's, on disability or who's looking for a room to rent, I mean, Spirit can help you. You can ask for help and Spirit can help you. But if you just sit there and think nothing's going to happen to me, or I hope nothing's going to happen to me, or I'm worried something is going to happen to me, but you don't take action, then you're going to be probably experiencing something you maybe didn't have to. So take action now, okay? As far as Social Security goes, well, they're already changing your payments, right? Like people are reporting, well, I always get paid on Friday, but I'm getting paid on Saturday, or I'm getting paid on Monday when I get paid on Saturday, whatever. It's like the payments are being manipulated, the dates are being manipulated. He's definitely wants to take away your Social Security. I hate to tell you this, but their goal is to get rid of the most vulnerable people because they think that people are not valuable. If you cannot work, you're not a valuable citizen and you should just disappear somewhere. That's what they think. So that's why they're going after the most vulnerable people. And when I would say, this is what the Spirit guides told me today, and this is so important, right? If you can get out and join other people like you and go and be a thorn in the side, stand at the corner of Walmart and say, save our Social Security. You know what that does is people are like, wait a minute, Social Security's under attack? Why would all those people be out there saying, save Social Security? They don't know. First of all, Social Security is called a whole different bunch of things. It's not called Social Security. Every state calls it something different. So they don't even know it's under attack. So get out there and let people know. Get out there with your signs and just say, save Social Security, so that more people wake up. They're only going to be able to do this if they can catch everybody off guard. And if we all know, then we can all start calling them. And this is about the allies, what they talk about earlier about racism, right? Like be an ally. If you're a white person, it's on you in those places of power to stand up for people who aren't in the places of power. It's 100% on us to stand up for people who can't. So if you've got disability, it's on me to stand up and say, I'm not disabled, but I'm standing here for someone that is with my sign. So we all need to stand for each other. Okay, because that's how we're going to get through this. So if I do think they're going to try to take Social Security, I don't see them taking Social Security. I just don't see it. I could be wrong. What I really think they're going to do is delay your payment, mess your payment up, pay you $30 less, pay you $10 less, pay you whatever. And then you've got to spend 2 hours talking on the phone where there's nobody there to even answer your phone call because they fired them all. Right? The point is to cause so much disruption that nobody knows how to fix it. If they just got rid of it, then everybody would be in the streets. But if they mess it up, they can prove to you and everybody else, you see, this is broken. It's broken. You need to let the private sector take it over. If the private sector was managing this, you'd get your check on time. This is why they're doing it. This is what they did with the post office. They always, insert private industry just to mess it up, to break it, so that they can then say private industry will save you. So this is what I see them doing, right? So they're just going to completely muck it up. Their point, again, there's the guides are showing me the picture of somebody leaving their place, their job, and taking a baseball bat and hitting all the computers on the way out. Well, I'm not going to work here, but you're not going to be able to use it either. I'm going to mess it up for all of you. It's sabotage. What they're telling me is they're going to sabotage it. So it's some ways it's kind of worse than just canceling it. They're going to break it so bad that it's going to take 6 months for us to fix it, right? But getting it out in front of this and telling people your Social Security is under attack by being visible would be very helpful, okay? And then Medicare. So I saw them coming after Medicaid. It's the same story for Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Except for this, they're really going after Medicaid. I mean, really. And they're really going after HUD and Section 8. And that's housing. So I'm telling you guys, please, if you get assistance for housing, make some kind of plan. Call that family member that you don't talk to anymore. Heck, the MAGAs are probably going to be calling you to move in your house. You know, you might have roommates because now all of a sudden the MAGAs can't afford to live, right? But just be aware that this kind of musical chairs is going to be happening. And I don't want you to be caught off guard and lose your place to stay. So what can you sell? You know, this is something that I've been putting in threads. If you have anything, if you've got a sewing machine that'll make you $50, go sell it. I'm not kidding you guys. If you have a yard sale and you make $100, that's $100 to help pay for your living expenses. You know, maybe you don't have anything to sell. Then in that case, think if you're able-bodied, think about getting a part-time job. Be prepared, because I feel like there's going to be gaps. The spirit guides are saying there's going to be gaps in the payment. Maybe you don't lose it, but maybe there's a gap of $20 a month or $50 a month. Forewarned is forearmed, you guys. That's all I can tell you. And I don't think anybody's asked this question here, but I can tell you my spirit guide's been talking about it nonstop for about 24 hours. And that is the military, active duty military, their checks being screwed up. Basically the same thing I just told you was going to happen with Medicaid, Medicare, all that. They're going to do it with the military. They're going to screw up deployments. They're going to screw up the paperwork. They're going to send soldiers to the wrong place. They're going to hack the systems. They're going to limit VA benefits or mess up the VA benefits that you get. Like all of a sudden, your benefits are going to change. Again, it's all about disrupting from the inside. It's the Trojan horse. This is how they did it, right? They brought Musk in. He's not elected. They brought in a Trojan horse, and this is what they're doing. They're going into the government systems, and they're going to destroy it from the inside out. Now, what that's going to do for us is it's good, because now as America's citizens, we're going to say, we really want VA benefits. We really want Social Security. We really want Medicare, Medicaid. We really want a safety net. As a matter of fact, not only do we want that, we want more. That's what's going to happen. All of this wrecking of everything, it's not going to make us want less. It's not going to make us go, oh, well, we don't get that anymore. No. Oh, no. It's going to make us vote more. It's going to make us angrier. It's going to make all of our allies, it's going to make me get out there with you, even though maybe it's a march about disability, right? It's going to make all of us get together and support each other. So they are going to have a large price to pay when this is all over with. But right now, what I want to do, what I want to help you guys do is get through it. Let's just all get through this. And then on the other side of it, we're going to decide how we want everything to look. How do we want to be treated, right? Okay. Hopefully that made sense. Candida, how are you, dear? Says Elon posted a tweet calling for the U.S. to get out of NATO. Yeah, they 45 tried to get us out of NATO the first time he was in office, actually. And I think I can see that. I can see the United States withdrawing from NATO. Like they're telling me I know it's not the same, but they're saying the Paris Climate Accord or something like that. But I don't think that if 45 just says bye bye, we're out. I don't think it's that simple. Like, I don't know that he can just remove us. You know what I mean? I don't think that's a presidential thing. Um, but yeah, he could say that, and I think that the guides are saying it's more likely that NATO kicks us out. Actually, it's more likely that NATO says you're not welcome here. Oh, it's a mess, but it's a mess for a reason, because these are all underlying problems that we've been sweeping under the rug, obviously, right? All this stuff has been there. It just hasn't been broadcast. And now they've all come out of their little holes and they're running around acting like they got control of the whole country. But no, they don't. It's just that the whole country doesn't realize what's happening right now. And when they do, it's going to be on. It's really going to be on. Carmen says, will the Dems walk out and protest a 45 speech to the joint session of Congress? This frustrates me because the old guard, which would be, I hate to say it, but Jeffries, because he's a Nancy Pelosi stan, right? I mean, he's literally a clone of Nancy Pelosi. And she wouldn't have given up her power to anybody who wasn't. She literally cloned him and said, okay, you do everything that I tell you to do, or you do everything that I trained you. I steeped you in the way that I want to run this thing. And if you'll just do it like this, you'll be successful, right? So I think that Jeffries wants to do something different. He wants to show power in a different way. And I think that AOC and Bernie Sanders and a lot of the other people, I feel like they are going to walk out. That's what I feel like is going to happen. The other option is to not show up. It's just to be empty, to be there empty. But I think the energy suggests that they all get up and walk out. So yeah, I think they will. But I don't think all of the Dems will do it. The question is, will Jeffries do it? Will Nancy Pelosi do it? Will all the Dems do it? Because Nancy, as we know from the whole Kamala Harris thing, we saw her true colors, didn't we? If she's pushed into a corner, she will be nice. Like once we pushed her into a corner and we said no, and Biden said no, this is my vice president, and this is going to be who the Dems put forth in this election. She fell into line, right? But she sure tried to sabotage it in the beginning. But my point being that if everybody gets up and walks out, she will do it too, but begrudgingly. Definitely begrudgingly. Okay, one or two more questions. Will Ohio go blue in the House or Senate? Will we get another Democratic governor? Yes, I think so. What the guides are showing me is the Rust Belt. Maybe you guys are in the Rust Belt. I don't know. But that area got some attention with the CHIP Act, I think, or there's been some new industry that's been going in, and I feel like when I'm in Ohio's energy, things were looking up, like things were seeming to be brighter, like people had hope, right? And now things are getting dark and cloudy, and that is 45. That's not the Democrats, that's 45. So I think that Ohio, they're showing me Ohio looking like Illinois, and Illinois is blue. So I think, yes, Ohio is going to go more blue. Will it go blue in the House or the Senate? Yes, I'm staring at Senate. I think yes, in 20, whenever the next thing is it 26 or 28? I don't know, but yes, I think so. I I get it. It's pretty red. I get it. But these red people are about to have the most comeuppance, the most awakened slap upside the head that they've ever had in their whole lives, because they're gonna come to this realization that they almost lost their country. Now, an easy way out is just to blame it on Elon, right? That's going to be the first thing, and that's something I've always seen is 45 could just say, "Oh, it was him. It was never me. It was just him." And that's a nice scapegoat. And if they can pull that off, they're going to try. So if that happens, then Ohio will take a little bit longer to wake up, and so will the rest of the red MAGAs. Oh, okay. Lorraine says, is life about to end as we know it? Entertainment, restaurants, fast food, jobs, retail, shopping, delivery services. I'm afraid of what I'm seeing about the near future. Lorraine, what I would say to you, and this is what the guides show me, is the pandemic. You guys, we've been through the pandemic. You couldn't go to birthday parties. You couldn't go out. You went to the grocery store and literally aisle after aisle after aisle was empty. Empty. And we went through this for 2 whole years. Kids learned how to learn at home. Our whole lives changed. So the guides are saying, yeah, things are going to be different, but you've done this. You Americans are so resilient. Honestly, it's a problem because when you're so resilient, you can just take the punches, you can take the blows, and you just keep on ticking. And that's Americans. We just keep on ticking. And unfortunately, if we really, you know, felt it, we would stop and say, wait a minute, wait a minute. I don't want to keep working. I don't want to keep supporting this regime. But we don't. We just keep thinking, got to pay the bills, got to pay the bills, got to do this, got to do this. So, yeah, I do think things are going to change, but I don't think, I think it's going to be a lot like the pandemic. And I really think it's going to be about 2 years. Whether we have whoever's in the presidency, I mean, of course, it would be better if it was a Democrat, I think, because in all ways, but all the same, we still got to learn these lessons. We have to learn them. They're not going to go away, and we can't live like this. We cannot live this divided. We have to figure it out. So entertainment, the guides have said last year that Hollywood was going to dissolve, fall apart. Look at media, look at Joy Ann Reid, or is her name Ann? Anyway, Joy Reid. Media is going to change. All of these things, the identities are going to change. And that's astrological. Astrologically, the institutions are going to change. I see hospitals changing because one of the big factors here of dissatisfaction is healthcare. And forget whether you're red or blue, we all have bad healthcare. And that's going to be one of those things I think that's going to pull us together. And I think we're going to come together against insurance companies. So you're going to see more flattening, in a sense. So again, like with media, you see all these young kids out there doing the news on YouTube, and they're really good at it. It's not like these things are going to disappear. They're just going to change. And if there's a need for it, it will continue. We don't use encyclopedias anymore. We don't use CDs anymore. We change with the times. So a lot of this is just changing with the times. Really and truly, it really is. The only thing I think that is not necessary is the recession. But I think it is necessary. But I think that is something that's going to impact us. I think we're going to have kind of this inflation. I think things are going to get to be more expensive. And I think that people that have money are going to have money. They're not going to slow down. They're going to go on their vacations. They're going to do their things. But the people on the edges, on the what is that word they're saying? On the margins, I kept hearing it as Martians. And I'm like, no, they're not Martians, and they're not on the Martian. But anyway, on the margins, those are the people that are vulnerable. And that's why we all need to get together and in our community become more viable and more alive and more supportive. So maybe we all need to do our best to support those people that are on disability. You know, all of us join Meals for Wheels. All of us join some local community civic group that donates books or donates or helps with rent. You know, this is how we're going to get through it. The guides have always said that is the community's going to come together, just like the pandemic. You remember all those cars that were in those long lines getting food? Do you guys remember that? Lines, miles and miles long of lines of people pulling up, rolling their window down, getting a bag of food. We will support each other. We're not like them. We're not like them. We're not monsters. We're not. And we're going to help each other. That's how we're going to get through this. So find your local people or create a local group yourself. And maybe don't make it red or blue, just make it community services. And see if you can go around to different companies and get them to donate food or get them to donate a Walmart gift card. You know, the Lions Club, the Elks Club, whoever it is, right? This is how we heal our communities. This is how we heal the division. Because when we see that this person needs food, we're not going to care if they're Black or they're Asian or they're gay or they're trans. We're going to feed them. I know this because I come from a community where we get our butts whooped every couple of years of the hurricane. And you know what? Those bubbas are out there with their John boats rescuing people. And they don't just ride by if you're not their color. They pull over and help you because we're not monsters. They want us to believe we're monsters. They are monsters. We're not. We're going to help each other. We're going to get through this together. And in doing so, we're going to heal the wound. And we're going to realize, you know what? I really like you. You're not so different. And I really want to help you. Or, hey, thank you for helping me. Really appreciate it. This is how we heal, you guys. And in this way, this is a beautiful gift for us because we get the opportunity to realize I'm not a monster. I'm a human and I have compassion for people. And I'm going to go check on that person down the road and see if they're okay. See if they need anything. You know, back in those days when you would go bring somebody a pie or you would go check on them and make sure they were okay. You know, we're creating this walled off energy of it's just us in our houses with our TVs and our computers. That is not going to help us. That is divided, we fall. So please get involved in your local community. And I think for that, I'm just going to end this video and I'll be back with more videos. I'm not going anywhere, I don't think. Hopefully that was helpful. Let me know in the comments. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Check out my Wisdom on Wednesday videos because it will help you elevate your mood. It will help you raise your vibration, and they're free. There's over 110 of them. And this is what we need to do to get out of this. Worrying is not going to get us out of this. Action. Remember that your mood follows action. So when you're worried and you're waiting to feel better to go take a walk, or you're waiting to feel better to go volunteer or make that phone call or do that email, it's not going to happen. You got to do the thing first. Do the thing, you'll feel better. Okay? Take really, really good care of yourself. I see you soon. For entertainment purposes only. My Wisdom on Wednesdays video series here on YouTube has over 110 videos. This screen recording was taken a few weeks ago when I only had 102 videos. But as you can see, there's lots of videos here. They're all free and they're all meant to inspire you, to help you, to educate you So I hope you check it out. Again, you can click on the logo, which is the swirly thing on YouTube. It'll take you to my main channel. Then from there, you'll see playlist. Click that. From there, you'll see wow, and click that. And boom, you've got all the entertainment you need for quite a long time. But it's also, as I said, inspirational and educational, and they're all channeled. So take a look around. Hopefully you find something that you find interesting. And I hope it helps you in every way possible. And my spirit guides reminded me to tell you about my online community. Right now we have over 1,000 people that are participating in this online community. It's $12 a month. You can pay monthly. That way you can cancel anytime. But guess what? There's 1,000 people just like you, sharing, supporting, feeling safe to share and talk about what's important to you. There's a political side. There is a spiritual side. And I'm there about 5, 6, 7 hours a month giving you readings and classes and events. I also just added a really cool guest speaker series. We've already had 2 guest speakers come and give presentations to the members. So it's a pretty happening place. And I think $12 a month is very reasonable. So if you're interested, go to my website, SusanLynnMedium.com, and you can click membership and you can join for a month, check it out, and see what you think. Take really good care of yourselves. I'll see you again real soon.